Ariba StartSourcing. Sourcing better for better commerce.
Congratulations on your purchase of Ariba StartSourcing, the quickest and most impactful tool for establishing a sourcing project, finding and qualifying suppliers, and negotiating best value deals. This video tutorial will show you how to monitor an active StartSourcing event. Let's get started. So in this video, we're going to show you how to monitor and manage an active event. So here I have my portal, and in our event status grid, I have one event that's currently open. So I'm going to click on that. It will take me to the list of open events, and I click that, and I click Monitor. Okay, so we're now in the monitoring screen. That monitoring screen has multiple tabs. This is an RFP, request for proposal. An auction would actually include another tab that would be the bid console, but in this case it's not in play here. Let's take you through the tabs. First, the overview tab, similar to when you're about ready to publish your event, and gives you high-level information about your event. The content tab, that has the most information, and we're actually going to cover that last, so I'll skip that. The supplier tab, this lists the different suppliers that were invited to this event, the contacts, if they're marked as incumbents, if they're part of a response team. A response team means you have multiple contacts at an organization working together on one response. You can see if they are locked or not. And you can also see if they've participated and submitted a response. As with most tables in the system, there are table options, and you can add additional columns to this list. One you might want to look at every so often, the last login date. So this will give you an idea of the last time they logged in, and that way you can track who's been participating and who hasn't. Okay. Now the screen doesn't just provide information. It allows you to take actions. Let me show you a few things that you can do. If for some reason, let's say this supplier is engaging in some kind of activity that you don't want them to have access to the event anymore, you can highlight that and click lock, and then you would lock them and they wouldn't be able to access this event. You can click on the supplier's name and pull up some information about them. Some things you might want to look at their organizational profile, or maybe look at the contact information. Here's something else, the bid details. This is where you can see the detail of the response that they submitted. Okay, it's one of many places, but that you can see there. You can also select a couple of the suppliers and click compare, and that will actually compare the suppliers' responses to the standard profile questionnaire that's built into the system. And if you have that as marked required, then suppliers will fill this out at time of registration. You also can compose a message to the suppliers here. You can also do that on the message board. Let's move to some of the other tabs. The team tab, this just lists who are the team members on this event. And really we have me, Fred Smith, the owner of the event, and that's who I'm logged in as. And we also have David Morrell that's on this event, also as an owner. The report screen is where you can get information about your event. We call this event reporting. And there's all different ways you can gather information on this page. First, you can select, do you want to see these numbers at the project level or at the item level? And you can switch between those. So the project, or let's look at the leather backpack. So you have that ability to jump back and forth. You also have the ability to look at the leading bid or look at one of the specific suppliers. Let's say Acme Bag Supply, and you have that 3. That means they're currently in third place based on their submitted responses. Okay, so it tells you the information related to that. Okay, Now down below it has some information generally about the event, in that you had 4 invitations sent out, 3 of the suppliers accepted. No one's declined yet. That means one just still hasn't accepted, and that's something that we'll want to look into. Okay, and then it also is saying total responses for this participant, and right here we're talking about one participant. If I look back and we talk at just the level of leading, then it'll say there's a total. This is overall based on the event. You also have the ability to choose between different terms that you have established in your event, in this case price or extended price. Extended price obviously is the unit price times the quantity in this case, so you can see this information at that level. This is just summary information. It's not detail. It's nothing that you will use in detail to analyze. We do have available in these reports more information that you would probably take advantage of. Let's look at first the bids report. This allows you to download the bid information that has been submitted by these suppliers, and this focuses on the financial type responses, not questions. This is just more the pricing type values, the line items and lots. And you can download the data into an Excel pivot table. So we have 3 suppliers that have active bids currently. So I'm going to say OK, and it's going to download this into Excel. It's got to go about building it and putting it all together. So, okay, we have a pivot table. In this pivot table in Excel, once again, it is something that you need to be knowledgeable of pivot tables to get full advantage of it. But if I can show you, if you right click in this area and it says show field list, and you can choose to add different field values into the pivot table. Okay, so you might want to say, let's look at the item number. So it now throws the item number in here, so you could focus and filter on different items. You could say, let's see savings, and we throw savings in this column, but then you might say, you know, savings shouldn't be there. I want it more in the middle area. So you can remove price field from there, and we can drag savings in there. Now it did it as a count of savings, so let's change that to a sum of the values so we can see the value. So now it's showing us the savings based on the different suppliers: Acme, Computer Cases of Copenhagen, Main Street Backpacks. Those are the different savings. So you didn't have any savings from Acme. You have some savings here, but some are over. And Main Street Backpacks, there are significant savings related to this particular event and the bids by the suppliers. This is a pivot table, has a lot of potential, a lot of power. Those that are experienced with pivot tables should enjoy this feature. We also have pretty standard, let's just bring out the data and then I can play with it type report. The question and terms report. When you open that, that gives you a full report of the responses received on this event. Has some high-level information giving you an idea of the totals of the extended price, total of the savings depending on the bids, and then it goes through each level of the data or the content in the event. So in this case we have this row of content. This is actually just the requirement that we created telling about the event. Here we have some questions. So they're asking, you know, what is the fidelity bond, what level, and you can see that the supplier submitted at different levels. And in this case we have Main Street and Computer Cases of Copenhagen did $1 million level of fidelity bond, while the other one did $1.5 million. And you can see the answers to the other questions that have come in. And you can take it down where you start getting into the pricing. And the pricing doesn't just show, here's price in this row, okay, but you also see quantity, extended price, savings. Okay, and here's the next line item, the leather backpacks. Okay, so this is a form that you can use, or this report can be used, and you can use this to generate any other kind of report that you might want to. The data is available. The suppliers are presented as columns, so you can average or use formulas to do some stuff with those entries into this event. Okay. So that's the reporting tab. Another tab is messages. This is the message board, and this is where all the correspondence with this event has been stored. Now there's all kinds of correspondence in here. There's messages from the actual buyer to the suppliers, suppliers asking a question, from the system generating messages like when they're inviting suppliers. So let's look at them. So here's stuff. This is the event being published. That's a system message. Here are some other system messages inviting the other suppliers to this event. And then we here have a response being submitted by this supplier and this supplier and this supplier, as you can see here. And here is another supplier being invited to the event. And then look, we've got from Acme Bag Supply, we have a question. It came from Acme Bag Supply, and if I click on it, I can read it, and it says, okay, they want to revise their bid. Can they do that? Well, we can click Reply. Here is where you choose who you want to send this response to. You have the option of sending it to the participants in your event. You do that by clicking the All Participants box, and all participants will receive this. You can also choose to send to all team members or just a select number of team members.
Now you can get Ariba's game-changing sourcing technology absolutely free. Visit ariba.com/startsourcing and get started today.